see you.
Great to see you again. Today, Dr. Dan, you had mentioned to me that most recently you've been on a 5-day silent retreat, and that you do that twice a year. And you were telling me how many health benefits there are in participating in a silent retreat. And I have to say, I've never done a silent retreat, so I think it would be wonderful for you to explain to our listeners what's involved in a silent retreat and also how it can benefit your health.
Well, I could say it's like taking your mind to a car wash, but it's that and more. I've been doing mindfulness meditation. I was taught at the Penn program for stress management. Now it's called the Penn program for mindfulness, and it's taught by a physician named Michael Bain, and he was my first teacher, my current teacher and friend, and he taught me 15 years ago, and it changed my life. Now,
In what way?
I'll give you an example. Well, it makes me less reactive. So all meditation is, and I was joking about the car wash thing, it doesn't do what people think. It doesn't still the mind and you find yourself in bliss, although you do visit that, especially with a 5-day retreat. But it's not that. It's just non-judgmental awareness of what's happening in your life, moment by moment. Because each moment really is different. Each breath is different. We don't notice that we're breathing.
We were talking about this, and you were telling me about the fact that when you would sit down to a meal, that you actually take time to put your fork down and to really taste the food. And we don't realize how much we're in such a rush all of the time. And we're eating quickly, and we're probably overeating. Like you were saying to me before, we're overeating because it takes about 20 minutes for the brain to actually realize that we're full. So, I mean, that's just one aspect of what an effect it can do to better your health. But how about some other things? Does it actually, physically, is it actually slowing down your heart rate, your blood pressure?
Oh, sure it does.
Okay.
Sure it does. But what it does is, look, when I sit there for 30 minutes a day, sometimes everything in my body-mind is screaming, you got too much to do. Don't do it. It's okay. You can get out this one day. And I don't. I sit there. Or I've got this strong emotion of fear, anxiety. I might have anger or grief, all these dark, unpleasant emotions that come up for all of us. And I sit there. Or I have thoughts about, the stories we tell ourselves. And I sit there. And I'm not saying that's my experience for 30 minutes. Awful lot of time I find great pleasure in just sitting there knowing I have nothing to do and nowhere to go, just feel my life. And over time, I began to enjoy coming back and spending time with an old friend. And my brain, and this is critical, this is what the research shows, the brain has learned that emotions are not calls to action, they're just emotions. And they're like clouds in the sky. You sit with it for a while, changes, goes away. Might be more intense, might be less, might change into another one. They never stay the same. Same thing with thoughts. Thoughts are not necessarily accurate. As a matter of fact, 99% of what goes on in your head is a work of fiction.
Wow.
99% of it. But what I've learned, what my brain has learned, is to be more reflective than reactive. And what happens to us, you know, we've got this limbic system in our early brain. That's the fight or flight response. That's where
Right.
the big emotions are. And we've got that so cranked up today, so cranked up, that if somebody cuts you off on the road, it's a crisis. Or if you're 2 minutes late, or if anything, there's a million crises we have. They're not crises.
No.
Now, what happens is we've got this prefrontal cortex, and that's where the executive function of the brain is. And that executive function says, hey, yo, just cut you off. What happens when we crank up our limbic system is communication between those two parts of the brain are impaired. Meditation, and it's not just sitting on a cushion, you really do have to learn it, but meditation actually creates new neural pathways in the
Wow.
brain. Brand new neural pathways. So you can change the way you think about yourself, the way you define yourself, the way you see the world, and the way you react to it.
And in the end, that will make you healthier both mentally and physically, which is really what we're all striving to be, is healthier all around.
There's more space in your life. More
Great.
space.
Wonderful information. Thank you, Dr. Dan, as
Thank you.
always.